That's good.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to Truro Town Council for Monday, May 5th, 2025. Before we begin our agenda today, we're going to recognize two artists whose entries were the winning recipients at the Truro Art Acquisition Show. Deputy Mayor Bill Thomas is on the Art Acquisition Committee along with Councillor Pryor, and I've asked Deputy Mayor to make the presentation today. And I'm sure after seeing the art, it must have been very difficult for the judging committee to make those decisions for these beautiful, but these pieces are absolutely beautiful. So I'd ask our first artist to come up, Sheila Newell. Sheila's painting is an acrylic painting called South End Inglis. And 2 years ago, Sheila's entry was the winning recipient. And I can actually say it's in my office, and I enjoy it every day. You're very talented, Ms. Newell, and now this painting will become a permanent part of the art collection. Would you like to say anything about your piece that you created?
I guess. I don't know what to say about it. I've done a few paintings on the other side of Inglis Place, and I just wanted to balance it out by doing this end. And I love what was done with the building when they redid the the facade there, the colors, and I just wanted to capture that, and part of the architecture of Truro, which it's an ongoing thing to do for me.
It's beautiful.
Capture it. Thank you.
And I know where that's going to be hanging. So I don't
Sheila, it really captures the downtown, even the essence of the downtown. So anybody who looked at it as a judge looked at it and said, it's just remarkable. It's fantastic. Little whimsical, in the sense of, but it is, it's unique in its style, but it really captures that end of town. Yeah. So that's why it was chosen. A lot of why it was chosen, just not how good it is and how well it's done, but also the fact that it's just captures English Street. So I want to, on behalf of the committee and the town, I'd like to present you with this this certificate, as well as a gift to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We'll get a picture now. We'll get a picture.
You want to take a picture of it?
We're going to picture, yes. Michaela's going to do
Why don't
that.
you stand on that side, I'll stand on this side. Thank you, Sheila. Yeah,
Thank
well
you so
done.
much.
Your second time of winning, isn't it? Yeah, just to go shows how talented you are. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Our artist in the all other mediums category is Keith Shane for his carving of the red-breasted merganser hen. The comments I've heard about this beautiful piece, and it's magnificent, is the feathers look so realistic. And I have a feeling somebody's found a spot for it in their office. Is that not correct, Mr. Dolter?
Correct.
Yeah. So anyway, if you could come down, Mr. Shane, and we'll make the award presentation to you and have your picture taken.
And Mr. Shane, would you like to make a few comments on your piece? It's outstanding. It really is. It's just outstanding. So would you like to make a comment? And the camera's this way.
Oh,
So
oh, then that's right. I guess the only comment I'd like to make is if somebody is going to look at these birds or get interested in carving them, is to go to a show. There's one in Nova Scotia every year. There's one in New Brunswick, PEI. So they're all around. And if it's a duck, the ducks are treated something differently than just having somebody judge them. They actually put in a water tank. So most of us carve with a wood called tupelo. And the birds are put in there. They must float evenly. They must flip. They are turned and flipped, and they must return to upright to pass the inspection. So there's a little more to the birds, no matter how big it is.
can you quickly just tell us, there's a beautiful job of painting this, but the carving, how do you go about that? Is it just with small Dremel tools?
I use tupelo is not kind to using it with a knife.
Okay.
The wood is so tight. It comes out of the swamps down in the States, and it is so tight that you basically have to do it with a Dremel.
Right.
And so it's Dremel all the way, and sometimes you'll insert the tail feathers. The heads are all done separately because you buy a piece of wood that's
Right.
that high, and
It's hours of work.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of hours, a lot of hours. Like a little area like that might take 3 hours just to burn the feathers into texture.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, Keith, it's just absolutely outstanding. You know, when you stand back from this, it looks surreal. It's just so beautiful. And it looks like it's just ready to dive. It looks like it's got an eye on a fish, you know, but it's quite remarkable. It's a beautiful job, yeah. You're very talented. So we have a certificate, and we also have, the town purchases it, and I just heard where it's gonna go. So it's a beautiful carving. So Keith, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Can I get a picture? You can stand on that side, I'll stand on this side. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Shane, very much. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. And Mr. Dolter, I have a feeling you're going to be spending hours staring at your new hen in the office there. Don't the feathers look realistic?
It's an amazing piece. Yeah, it is very nice.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you both artists so much. Before we begin a public hearing today, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. I, Kathy Henton, Mayor of the town of Truro, acknowledge we are Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. We acknowledge the peace and friendship treaties, and we recognize we are all treaty people. We recognize that African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched the part of Mi'kma'ki known as Nova Scotia over 400 years. We give thanks to the elders and knowledge keepers. Now we are going to enter into a public hearing this afternoon. And if you're wondering why we are wearing red today, today is Red Dress Day, which is in honor of the National Day of Remembrance and Activism, honoring the lives of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited people. Now we will enter into our public hearing for this afternoon. This is a public hearing for a development application for 60 Gulf Street, PID number 20452892. Has this been advertised, Mr. Dolter?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
And do we have any correspondence?
Yes, there was correspondence from the town's Planning Advisory Committee recommending that it go to council for public hearing, and that was advertised. And the committee supports the recommendation, supports the development and recommends it for approval to council.
Okay, so before we start, we're going to start with a report from the planning department, and then there'll be an opportunity for council to ask questions, and anyone in the chamber, if there is anyone that wants to ask questions. Is the developer here? If you would, sir, just maybe if you'd come down in case there is questions, just have a seat at the table. And just, if you just push the button there in the middle and identify yourself, and just your name, please.
Dave Wallace and
Dave Wallace.
Darla Gadet.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Mr. Fox, your report, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'll be presenting this on the behalf of Carla Connolly, who couldn't be here today, but I'll do my best to get through this. So this is a development agreement application for 60 Gulf Street. As mentioned, it's for a multi-unit residential development. The subject lands are approximately 0.88 acres in area, and they have approximately 240 feet of frontage on Gulf Street, outlined in blue there, across from the number 2 Construction Battalion Athletic Facility, and beside Truro Toyota and Clake Street, and behind the Chow Family Restaurant. So that's the general area where the subject properties are. I think we're all pretty familiar with this application. It's been before us several times in several different versions, and hopefully we'll get to the point where we can see some construction at this point. But so we are now looking at this would be the subject property here, showing the policy area map and showing that the property is in the regional service policy area, and policy RS 36 actually allows this proposal to be considered by council by development agreement. This is the zoning map, just showing that the property is in the urban corridor zone, and also there is policy UC 49, which also supports this proposal by development agreement, that council can consider it by development agreement. Some pictures of the property on some snowier days earlier this year or later last year, just showing the subject lands. You can see Clake Street, 14 Clake Street in the background, with also Truro Toyotas in the background there. Gulf Street would be in the foreground. It's another shot of the site. And another shot of the site showing, you can just see the back of the Chow family to the right-hand side of the screen there, and 14 Clegg Street is in the center of the shot. So this was the previous submission that was approved in 2022. Applicant has stated that there was some issues with some groundwater on site, and it made it cost prohibitive to do 2 stories of below grade parking. So, and they wanted to move to surface parking, which required a substantial amendment to the approved development agreement. So just so you're aware that this is the approved submission that went through council back in 2022. We've now gone through several steps at the Planning Advisory Committee meeting and reviewing this application. We're at step 4. So it has been through the Planning Advisory Committee for 3 meetings, and now we're at step 4, which is the public hearing, which is where we are today, public hearing and presentation to council and decision by council. So just in terms of the revised development proposal, what we're looking at now is, this is the site plan showing the golf streets on the bottom of the screen. There's a 2-way driveway accessing the site on the northern end of the property, or on the right-hand side there. There's a rear parking area, surface parking area. There's also a ramp down for access to the parking garage at the front here. And then there's also some surface amenity space as well, or outdoor common amenity space for use by tenants. And then there was a modified submission here as well. Anyway, not much change there, but this is the conceptual site plan as currently proposed, although one big change is that I believe there is now a main entrance oriented to the street. So you can see here the underground parking garage layout. So there's 50 below grade parking spaces. There's a variety of unit types being proposed, 1 and 2 bedroom units. I don't know if there's any 3-bedroom units being proposed. The applicant can perhaps comment on that, but.
No, there's not.
Okay, so it's just the 1 and 2 bedroom units being proposed. This is the revised rendering that was submitted by the applicant, showing the main entrance oriented to Golf Street, and then also showing the architectural finishes that are being proposed. And there's gone through quite a series of renderings here that have been modified over time in response to feedback and commentary from the Planning Advisory Committee and members of the public and staff. So it's evolved to the point where it's now looking like this. So the proposal consists of 5 stories, 59 units. There's 19 one-bedroom units, 42 bedroom units. Lot coverage is 37% for the building, and then there's about 74% of the site's impermeable surface. 66 parking spaces are shown. There's 50 below grade plus 16 surface parkings, which works out to a parking ratio of 1.11 spaces per unit. There's about 9,700 square feet of amenity space, which includes green space, balconies, and a common room. These are the 2 policies that allow council to consider this application. I'm not going to go through those, but just for your reference, they're policy RS36 and UC49. Planning staff, in terms of analysis, we reviewed the proposal based on the applicable policies found in the town's planning documents. The proposal aligns with many of the town's planning policies, including increased residential densities in the downtown, new dwelling units on existing infrastructure, so intensification versus sprawl, so more efficient use of existing infrastructure rather than extending it to the suburban areas causing sprawl, and also contributes to the idea of walkable neighborhoods, given that it is within walking distance of many amenities. Planning staff have reviewed the proposal based on the other applicable policies found in the planning documents, and the potential issues included the building height, residential density, traffic, and stormwater management. Height was found to be having minimal impact on neighboring properties. It's just some commentary there and some cross sections showing how it fits into the sort of built form in the area. So the proposed structure is higher than nearby development, but it's not expected to create a compatibility issue given the variety of building sizes and lack of development in the area, which establishes a baseline at which the development could be measured against. In terms of density, it is quite a bit higher than what you would find typically in the area, but it's certainly consistent with what the town is seeking for development along the urban corridor and in the regional service area. And then traffic was another identified potential concern. There was a traffic impact statement has been submitted and has been approved by the town's traffic authority. And reviewed by other departments. On March 25th, this application was circulated to various town staff for comment, including the urban forester. No specific comments until a landscape plan is received. Fire inspector, there's a fire department connection should face Golf Street for easy access, so just comments back on from each of these individuals. Building inspector, accessible parking spaces will need to meet the new Accessibility Act. The town engineer's office was looking for a stormwater management plan. A traffic impact statement has been submitted. The Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture has no concerns, although they did mention that they would like to see a community garden for residents would be welcome. No concerns from the police chief, and the Regional Center for Education had no comments. In terms of survey results, we did do some public engagement on this process as usual. We did a development notice sign, one posted on the property that's been up there since February 20th, 2025. Information was posted on the town's website under active development applications, and the survey was open to the public online. We also did a mail out to 27 property owners within 150 meters or 492 feet of the property. So the results as of April 29th were 17 in favor, or 53.12%, 14 were opposed, or 43.75%, 1 or 3.12% had no opinion, and there was 0 with comments only. And we also did hold a public information, or the developer held a public information meeting on Tuesday, March 18th at the library, and there were 10 people in attendance for that public information session. So where we are now in terms of next steps, we proceed to council's decision at this point. We're actually at step 4, so public hearing decision by council, and then we proceed to step 5, where there would be the appeal process, which would be 14 days from the date the notice is posted on the town's website. The appeal would be open. If there's no appeals, then we would proceed to register, have the agreement signed and registered, and permits could be issued. Just to repeat that. Following today's public hearing, council is expected to make its decision. Council decision may include conditions or be subject to the submission of additional information. And council decision, as I mentioned, is subject to appeal to the Utility Review Board. Just in terms of recommendations, the recommendation from staff is that council approve an application by Tier 2 properties to enter into a development agreement with the town to permit a 5-story multi-unit residential building containing up to 59 dwelling units. Subject to the following conditions, the applicants must submit a stormwater management plan prepared by a licensed professional engineer and approved by the town's Director of Engineering Public Works, and the applicant must submit a landscape plan to be reviewed by the town's urban forester and accepted by the town's development officer in consultation with the town's urban forester. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Director Fox. We're now going to open it up to questions from council members. And I see Councillor Graham. Councillor Graham?
Yep, I have 2 comments and 1 question. The first is asking you to please be mindful of the proximity to our West Prince Island community. Hoping to see a nod to that community in some way. There is a committee being set up, although not in place at this time, but throughout the construction, I'm sure by the time you're complete, their committee will be up and running, and it would be nice if there was some sort of consultation between you as the developer and that committee to, again, acknowledge the presence of our African Nova Scotian community there.
For sure.
I really, really like the final design. I'm hoping that the design features such as the colors and the materials being used are carried forward to the final product. And I know that we as council cannot dictate the materials that are used, but the ones you've presented are wonderful, and I hope they're there at the conclusion of the project as well. My final question is for Mr. Fox. Wondering, there's been some discussion at council regarding an on-site manager, construction manager. I forget the title of that person. Will that person be in place for the construction of this development?
I'm sorry, are you asking if the developer is going to have a construction site manager or a policy?
No. Is there not some discussion that we are going to have an on-site construction manager? Or
No.
am I misunderstanding something?
Yeah, I believe what we're proposing to do is put in place a policy for construction site management so that any construction project require the submission of a plan that would be approved by the town, the building inspector.
So will that be in place for this development?
Yes, I believe it is, yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you both for being here today. Just quick questions on timing. The landscape plan is still outstanding. Do we have assuming that this goes forward today, do you have a timeline for when the landscape plan will be done and when you would expect shovels to hit the ground?
My guess is that within the next few weeks, we'll have a landscape plan submitted. Yeah.
Okay. and shovels to hit the ground, assuming it's approved?
Yeah, I would say you're looking at likely a late summer start date.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Talbot, did you have a question?
Yes. I was just wondering about if any of these units are going to be affordable.
It's a great question. At this time, I can't answer that. We're looking into it, so there's a possibility that a few of them may be. Yeah. Yeah.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, Mr. Fox, I have a question for you in regards to the landscape plan. This landscape plan will be submitted, it'll be reviewed by the urban forester, but sometimes it's my observation that the landscape plan doesn't go into effect until the building is completed, and even sometimes when the building starts to be occupied. So can you tell me the process to ensure that that the agreed upon landscape plan is delivered?
The requirement is, with the terms of the development agreement, if there is an attached site plan which has or a landscaping plan, and the terms of the development agreement require that the landscape plan be implemented, that if the developer doesn't do so, the town is able to enter on the premises, conduct the work required to complete the landscape plan as agreed upon in the agreement, and charge the developer property owner for the cost of the work.
Okay, so is there an inspection done of the site upon completion?
We don't always get to do an inspection if it's obvious from, like, we don't generally go around policing them. We just don't simply have the manpower sometimes to enter on premises, especially if it's not readily visible from the street, especially with things like landscaping plans. So no, there's no formal inspection process as part of this.
Okay. Okay, well, I would urge everybody involved with the project that I see this as one of the keys to the success of this project, that it has a proper curb appeal to it, and I think landscaping is a big part of that. The committee, the planning committee really liked the last design, liked the colors, liked the shapes, et cetera, but there was also an importance to have a streetscape look to it, that landscape was involved with that streetscape, because of the fact that it's right next to the golf course, and it's right across the street from the new development there for a sports facility. So, we just saw that. I saw that as importance. I just trying to follow through with that importance.
Councillor Thomas, thank you. I'll remind council that our company is in partnership and ownership, I guess, of the Truro Hub Mall now. So what we're proposing here on Gulf Street, what you see is what you'll get.
Okay.
So I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Deputy. Was there any questions from the public, Mr. Fox, that come into your office?
None, no.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any further questions from council? Okay, I'm going to ask 3 times. Is there any further questions from council on this development proposal? This is my 3rd and final ask. Is there any further questions on this development proposal? Seeing no further questions, I declare this hearing for 60 Gulf Street closed. Thank you very much. We're now going to proceed to our public agenda for today. This is a public council meeting for the town of Truro for Monday, May 5th, 2025. The first item is the approval of the agenda. Mr. Dolder, are there any changes, admissions, deletions to the agenda?
Yes, just one, Madam Mayor, under item 8B. It's the request for decision, extended producer responsibilities, circular materials opt-in. We won't have a request for decision for council today because there's some been developments on this issue over the last week or two. But the Director of Public Works will provide a presentation to council on EPR just to provide information, and there'll be more information to follow as things develop.
Great. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda. Motion made by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Graham. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is approved. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from April the 7th, 2025. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes. Councillor Fleming, seconded by Councillor Pryor. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Item number 3, petitions and delegations and correspondence. Do we have any, Mr. Dolter?
None today, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Item 4A, under old business, request for a decision on the MOU and service agreement marketing levy. Mr. Dolter, if you please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So early in 2023, after considerable discussion, Colchester County, the town of Truro, the town of Studiac, and Millbrook First Nation, and the tourism sector and community-based business leaders identified the need to create an overarching tourism strategy for the region. The regional tourism strategy, which goes from 2025 to 2027, was approved by Truro Town Council at the public meeting on March 3rd, 2025. The strategy recommended the formation of a tourism development society to action the regional strategy utilizing the pooled regional marketing levy funds. In November 2022, the province of Nova Scotia passed new legislation through the Municipal Government Act, and that was Bill 2024, allowing municipalities to introduce a tourism marketing levy. In April 2024, the town of Truro, town of Studiac, county of Colchester, and Millbrook First Nation implemented a tourism marketing levy and has been collecting funds since that time. The attached draft MOU is between the 4 partners, and that is the town of Truro, county of Colchester, Millbrook First Nation, and the town of Studiac, to form a new tourism development society to conduct the tourism development and marketing in accordance with the regional strategic tourism plan, and to guide the use of the pooled marketing levy funds for each partner, which each partner is currently collecting. So again, the MOU is attached for review of council, as well as a briefing note that Ms. Grant provided to council on the 29th of April. So the proposed motion, Madam Mayor, is to be it resolved that the Town of Truro Council supports entering into the attached memorandum of understanding to establish a tourism development society contingent upon the County of Colchester, the Town of Studiac, and Millbrook First Nation each agreeing to enter into the same memorandum of understanding.
Thank you, Mr. Dolter. I now entertain a mover. Councillor McGrath, a seconder. Councillor Fleming. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Contrary minded? Passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 4B, request for decision, 60 Gulf Street, PID number 20452892. Mr. Dolter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So an application by two-tiered properties to develop a 5-story multi-unit development consisting of up to 59 dwelling units and a mixture of below-grade and surface parking on lands at 60 Gulf Street. This application includes the discharge of a 2022 development agreement on the property permitting a multi-unit residential building containing 68 units. The application was reviewed by the town's Planning Advisory Committee at their January, February, and March 2025 meetings. At their March meeting, the committee recommended council enter into a development agreement with the applicant subject to the submission of a stormwater management plan, landscaping plan, and a traffic impact statement, which is, as indicated by Director Fox, was submitted to the Director of Public Works of the Traffic Authority on May 1st, and it has been approved. So the other documents were to be submitted prior to entering into a development agreement with the town. The application has been reviewed by the town's Heritage Committee as well. At their April 15th meeting, the committee agreed to the proposal was adequate. No perceived negative heritage impacts were noted. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is, be it resolved the council discharge the 2022 development agreement in place for 60 Gulf Street and enter into a new development agreement with Tier 2 properties to permit a 5-story multi-unit residential development containing up to 59 dwelling units, subject to the submission of a stormwater management plan prepared by a licensed professional and approved by the town's Director of Engineering and Public Works, and a landscaping plan reviewed by the town's urban forester and accepted by the town's development officer prior to entering into a development agreement on lands at 60 Gulf Street, and that is PID 20452892.
Thank you, Mr. Dolter. Council, you have heard Mr. Fox's presentation. You have heard the proposed motion. I would now entertain for a mover, Councillor Fleming. Councillor Graham, seconded. Discussion, Council. No discussion. I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor of approving the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion is approved. There'll be a 14-day appeal period when this appears in the paper and on a social media platform. When that is set in motion, the 14-day period begins. If there are no appeals, it is then approved. Thank you, Council. We're moving along to item number 5, in-camera summary report. Mr. Dolter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So council met in camera on April 28th. At that time, there was 2 points of discussion, both of a legal nature. There will be no requirement for council to meet in camera today.
Thank you very much. Now we're moving on to our department reports, our committee reports. So after each report, council may ask questions, and after all the reports are presented, I will ask for a motion that all the reports be approved in one. So moving forward, our first report is with you, Mr. Dolter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, this is my report for May, or for April, I should say. So the first item is a rules of order training. So I, and along with the EA to the CEO and Mayor, CEO and Mayor had an opportunity to attend a rules of order meeting process workshop. The day-long session provided a comprehensive overview of council meeting rules of order, and I can honestly say after over 20 years as a CIO, I did learn quite a bit during the session. We will be discussing some of the potential changes and providing some guidance to Mayor and Council on items that we feel will allow for more efficient meetings and procedures. And some of the items are fairly simple and things that we've been doing for years and doing incorrectly. So again, those are things that we can adopt. And again, like anything, Robert's Rules of Orders are guidance and not cast in stone. So again, we'll adjust it to be practical for council, but I think there are some good things that we can bring forward. Next item is the Liaison and Oversight Committee for the Truro Colchester Partnership for Economic Prosperity. The first Liaison and Oversight Committee meeting since the 2024 election was held on April 15th. The committee is the governance body that oversees TCPEP. The chair and the vice chairs were appointed with Mayors Blair and Hinton volunteering to assume the respective roles for the coming year. The CEO for TCPEP, David Phillips, provided an update for the committee on TCPEP's activities over the last year. Next item is the Ford Street Park project. So staff continue to work on the park on the corner of Roby and Ford Street as we prepare for the installation of the plaques honoring the African Nova Scotian female educators and the long-standing organist for the Zion Baptist Church. The official unveiling will take place on May 23rd. Ford Street will be closed for the morning and afternoon to allow for the setup and takedown of the equipment for the ceremony. Unfortunately, town staff will be unable to complete all the site preparations prior to the ceremony. However, all the final site plan will be on display, with the work hopefully completed by midsummer. Fencing and some electrical work has been finished for the event, and I think if you drive by Roby Street, you'll see the fence that's up, and it's a great improvement to the park. So we are very happy to see this project approaching a successful completion, and certainly want to thank the Halifax Women's History Society for having brought the project forward and working with us on that. So again, there is still quite a bit of work to do, but again, we hope people that are interested can attend the event on May 23rd. NSFM Spring Conference. So the Spring Conference took place in Truro last week, seeing some 150 municipal mayors, wardens, and councillors from across the province attend the numerous sessions and programmed activities. Staff conducted a session on the TAC Grounds Revitalization Project, and it was on the site. We did it on site of the No. 2 Construction Battalion Athletic Facility. As well, we had an overview in Victoria Park of the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid program, which we are leading and getting into now, and I think there was some interest in that. And we also hosted for everyone we hosted at the Truro Farmers Market. We had a social evening and it was well attended and everybody seemed to enjoy the activities that we hosted there. And I think the discussions in general were well received. I had the opportunity to have a meeting with the NSFM board executive on Friday, and they felt everything had been a success, and wanted to thank everybody for their involvement. The capital plan and tendering. So senior staff met on the 16th of April to review the approved capital plan for the 25-26 fiscal year and determine timings and procurement for procurement and tendering. The goal will be to issue tenders as early as possible to ensure that the supply chain issues are minimized, as we've had delays of delivery of several key items over the past few years, so we're trying to avoid that. Staff are also conscious of the potential cost implications of that U.S. tariffs could have on some items that cannot be procured locally or within Canada or from non-U.S. suppliers. So again, we are making a conscious effort to follow the direction across Canada of avoiding U.S. business if we can. There are some items, though, particularly when it comes to IT procurement, that makes that difficult because there are very few suppliers. But we are focused on doing things where we can. From the strategic initiatives and communications perspective, we continue to work through the equity and racism strategy. We hope to have the final report delivered sometime this month. And again, that's or early June. So again, that's something that's being worked on. And there has been good participation during public engagement sessions that were held from March 31st to April 4th. So again, those, we want to thank everybody that's been involved in those. From a public transportation perspective, public engagement commenced on April 1st, starting with the first two public surveys. The first survey closed on April 22nd after receiving more than 1,100 responses, which is excellent. The second survey opened on May 1st. Members of the public can complete the survey through the town's social media and websites. So again, we encourage people to have their say on public transportation. Number 2 Construction Battalion commemoration. As council is aware, we received funding in order to install from Veterans Affairs in order to install a monument in honor of Number 2 Construction Battalion on the site of the Number 2 Construction Battalion athletic facility as far as the dedication goes. So we're working now, the monument itself has been approved by the African Nova Scotian Community Strategy Committee. It has been ordered. We have all the final wording on it. So we're working towards the grand opening event, which will be on the 1st of August. Invitations will go to many for that, and we hope to make it a fairly large and well-attended event again for something we've been working on, and very valued dedication within the community, I'm sure. From other communications project, the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid Victoria Park. We're working with the urban tree coordinator and the urban tree committee to develop a communication strategy regarding the proactive steps the town's taking against the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid. This includes the promotion of public information session that will be held on May 6th. So I think anybody that has any concerns about the program should certainly attend that and get well informed so that they understand exactly what it is we're doing. And I know this activity is going to be going on in other areas of the province as the Adelgid continues to move across and start coming into contact with more hemlock trees. The Truro 150, so staff have collaborated with the planning development staff to develop the street pole banners along Prince Street, English Place, and Civic Square to promote the Truro 150 event. Pop-up banners also created and be used at Truro events. Similar, and just need to remind people tomorrow, come out for a slice of, I guess, birthday cake or a cupcake in at the Hub Mall. Members of council will be there and to have a chat and, come enjoy the town's 150th birthday, which officially is actually on the 6th, so that is tomorrow, and encourage everybody to attend. And finally, Madam Mayor, I guess a positive, good news story, of course. Truro Elementary School visit. Staff work with Mayor Hinton and other staff to help organize and highlight the visit from the grade 3 and grade 4 students from Truro Elementary School on April 24th. We had about 55 students visit a town hall to learn about municipal government and the role of mayor and council. I only got here towards the tail end of it. I hid away for a few minutes, but it was great to see all the kids here, and they certainly were interested, and I know they enjoyed the visit from some of the comments from the teachers. So that's really great, and we do appreciate introducing, no matter what the age, the public to what municipal government does and the important role we play. So, Madam Mayor, that is my report. Well, the other item is, as a standing issue for council's review, is the funding program overview, the grants that we have applied for, both approved and pending for council's review. If there's any questions on those, they can come forward either during the meeting or after the meeting. So that is my report, Madam Mayor, respectfully submitted.
Thank you for that very detailed report. I just want to follow up on a couple of things you said, Mr. Dolter. I want to thank Allison Grant, Michaela Carroll, Stephanie Rowe, Edwina Renault, and our forester, Scott Holman, for being so wonderful when the children came from Truro Elementary School. They had a grand time, and that's the best part of the job, seeing them come down. And they'd been doing a little follow-up on municipal politics, so they were lovely. They just loved wearing my chain of office, and they were banging the gavel. It was quite a day. They were all here, and everyone at the podium where you sit, they all took a chance to speak. So it was really lovely. And before they left, each one of them came in personally to say goodbye to me and left me a little note. So it was very special, and I want to thank everybody for that. I also want to say for the NSFM that was here in Truro, to thank Stephanie Rowe and Michaela Carroll and staff, and you, Mr. Dolter. It was a lot of work went into that. We had line dancing, and we're so proud to showcase our beautiful farmers market. We had the fiddlers, we had a bagpiper, and I even brought out my harmonica. So it was a really good time, and it was well attended, and I heard nothing but great reports afterwards. We had the conference here in Truro for NSFM. They hadn't been back here since 2016. They said it was the best attended conference since pre-COVID, so that was very positive to hear. And one of the sessions that I just wanted to say that was really enjoyable was when the Nova Scotia Cooperative Council with Diane Kelderman did a presentation. I think all council here, I think we've all been on the same page, very united in our concern and development of housing. And we're really hoping to get a project off the ground where we can work with Nova Scotia Cooperative Council to acquire a building to get that done for much needed housing that would be very affordable to the people that need it the most. So I just wanted to thank that. And tomorrow, as you mentioned, is the anniversary celebration where all our council will be there from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Hub Mall at 245 Roby Street. Come down, meet us, say hello, celebrate our anniversary of the town, and have a cupcake, and we'd love to see you. We'd love to see you tomorrow. Now, for questions for our CAO, I see first up is Councillor Talbot.
Yes, I want to pass along the concern, actually I'm going to call it the growing concern that I'm receiving from the community of West Prince Street with regard remediation of that, I'll call it a ditch that runs along the backside of the ball field. I understand there's some challenges from the town's perspective in terms of access to fill and the cost of the project. I want to remind everyone that there are concerns from the community with regard to safety of their children. Now, parents aren't foolish. They've warned the kids about not going down there, that the water's deep. It's in my backyard. I happened to be there yesterday afternoon. There were 8 kids down there playing, a couple of them trying to reach through the fence. I went down and I asked them to leave, and I spoke to their parents. But people are concerned that we have absolutely no timeline in terms of the completion of this project. And, I would hate to see something happen to one of those kids. So this has to be looked at ASAP.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Talbot. Just prior to the meeting, I got an update there. I'm going to receive an update tomorrow on the status of everything. So again, I'll be able to provide that to you to be able to share with the community. So again, we are very conscious of that. In the meantime, until we actually start putting in fill into the pond, we will check the fence to make sure that it's properly maintained. Again, and as when we did install it, we saw it as a temporary measure, certainly not a permanent fix. And we will be, we will be moving forward to fill in that area.
It's very positive to hear and needed. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to fill out a little information that's on the information session that's being held regarding the proactive steps being taken to control the hemlock woolly adelgid. It'll be tomorrow night at the fire hall at 7 p.m. and all are welcome. The committee, the urban forestry committee's all going to be there, along with the town's urban forester, and we'll explain the steps that are being taken to attempt to control the woolly adelgid. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One correction first for the Truro 150. All of council will not be there, as I will unfortunately have to pass my regrets due to prior commitments at my full-time job. But I hope that those that are able to attend, council and public, have an enjoyable time. I wanted to ask a further question about the public transit surveys. It was mentioned, Mr. Dolter, that there were 2 surveys released, one on April 1st and one on May 1st. Is there a difference between the surveys? Is one a follow-up, or are these is just trying to capture people's attention a second time?
Ms. Grant, you can probably provide the information on that.
Yeah, the first, they're meant to both be filled out, so anybody who filled out the first one, we certainly encourage them to fill out the second one. We had a great number fill out the first one, so hopefully we'll have just as strong for the second one. The second one is more sort of options analysis, and the first one was really sort of a needs study. So they do focus on 2 different sort of areas.
Okay, so for anyone asking if they, I filled out the first one, do I have to do the second one? We encourage them to fill out both.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we'll miss you tomorrow, Councillor McGrath. We'll bring you a cupcake back if it's gluten-free. Our next report is Corporate Services with Ms. Russell. If you prepare your report and give it to us, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The attached draft statement provides an overview of the financial position of the Town of Truro operations up to the end of March 2025. The statement is a draft and does not include outstanding year-end entries that may change the results materially. Total draft revenue to the end of March of $38.4 million, or 101.8% of the annual budget. Our year-end work continues, and I'd like to caution that there are entries not yet completed that may affect results materially. Some of the big variances to budget are the deed transfer tax is above budget at 192.6%. Taxes, grant and lieu, have been received and came in slightly higher than budget. Sewer charge is higher than budget at 104.4%. Revenue services to other municipalities are fully billed with the exception of the County of Colchester, which still needs to be billed for Q4. Revenue from services offered is strong, although this is an area where additional entries are expected, as some revenue may be related to the 2025-26 year and need to be deferred. The year-end entry for water utility is also not yet recorded. Other revenue, interest earned, is higher than budget due to the higher interest rates than expected, for a result of 246% of budget. Miscellaneous is also up this month due to proceeds from a surplus sale, resulting in being over budget by approximately $21,000, or 407.8%. Government transfers are on budget except for the other account, which is currently at 553.8%, reflecting additional unbudgeted grants that were applied for and received in the year. This account may also be impacted by year-end entries due to deferred revenue. Total draft expenses to the end of March is $34.6 million, or 89.7% of the annual budget. These numbers, again, will change as we continue to work through year end. I'll touch on some of the bigger variances to budget. Under legislative, other expense account is over budget at 125%, primarily because of the retirement expenses from Mayor Mills' send-off, but overall the department came in below budget at 87.1%. Under general administration, other expenses is higher than budget at 123% due to the increase in insurance premiums, unbudgeted safety requirements, and other professional fees. The total department came in at 103.8% of budget. Engineering and Public Works, streets and sidewalks is at 129.3%, reflecting expenditures during the construction season, the annual gravel requirements, and the increased costs of traffic control. Year-end entries are expected in this account. The department is currently at 95.2% of budget overall. Provincial government transfer to the school board is at 107.9% due to the budget estimate being too low. Financing, there are some year-end entries still missing, currently at 82.9% of budget, but this number will increase. Overall, the draft surplus is currently at 3.8% or $3.8 million. Again, this number is draft and will likely change materially as we continue to work through year-end. Under procurement, there's a table here of the projects that were awarded in March. These projects have been previously approved through the budgeting process. So we have some turf maintenance equipment that was awarded to John Deere for $23,195. Salary review RFP awarded to KBRS for $27,600. Arborist equipment sprayers awarded to Reithenhouse for $4,000. 2 police SUVs awarded to Hollis Ford for $122,900. Storage unit to Unlimited Self-Storage for $5,950. VMware renewal awarded to IMP for $14,458. And a bottle fill station was awarded to Kelsey's Plumbing for $6,645. For IT, as I mentioned last month, the IT staff hosted municipal police IT meetings on April 9th in conjunction with the Atlantic Security Conference in Halifax. The meetings were very well attended by approximately 20 municipalities and 12 police services. The meetings were so successful that they've decided to continue them on a monthly basis virtually to continue the great conversations and information sharing. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you. Your first question, Director Russell, is from Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. Through you to Director of Finance. Under the revenue section, let's go to find it here. Under revenue from services offered, it says on the last one is operations. You see it? Yep.
Yes, I do.
And it's $660,000 we budgeted, but there's nothing taking in. I was wondering if you can explain why that's empty.
That is the entry, the year-end entry for water utility isn't recorded yet. So
Okay.
that's related.
So when you mentioned earlier about, because that's going to probably alter our,
Materially alter.
yeah, $660,000 looks like we're getting back, but we're probably not going to once that's, like, I mean, as far as surplus goes.
Well, that's revenue, so that'll increase the surplus. All
Yep.
else equal, yep.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Russell. Just one more time, since we haven't said it enough. This is a draft budget, correct?
That is correct.
All right. I just wanted to ask about, just not even a question about the numbers, but just sort of our, I understand percentages are easy, but I don't want people to be concerned when they hear that something was above budget, like the deed transfer tracks was above budget by 192.6%, which is actually only a little over $100,000, which, if my math is correct, in the total budget is 0.2% of the total town budget for the year. And I don't know if that math's right, and I'm not going to expect you to correct that because that's because you may not have the numbers right in front of you. But I just wanted to highlight that sometimes, or especially even, what was the other one, that the 400% over for an amount of $21,000. I'm not even, I can't, that's too many decimal places down for me to even track. I just wanted to highlight that sometimes when we look at just the percentages, it can paint an incorrect picture of what we're actually seeing, and that sometimes you want to look at the actual numbers, just for folks who may be wondering at home why something is off by 400% and getting concerned. Thank you.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Graham?
Later this afternoon, I'll be making a motion with regard to the funding of public libraries. Either you or Mr. Dolter, I understand you're new in the position, if one of you could explain the funding formula as it exists now. We are showing it as an expense of 290 some odd thousand to our public libraries, and maybe you could talk about that and how that money is distributed and where that number comes from.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, to be honest, I don't have the funding formula at hand right now, but there is an allocation-based, formula-based allocation that all municipalities are subject to across Nova Scotia. And that was established through the library review that was done, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago. In addition to that, we also provide operational funding to the library as well too, or we pay, I guess, the bills, for example, for facilities maintenance and those types of items to the library itself. So all told, I don't know if that 250 represents, I think that could be the combined number, I'm not sure. But again, we can give a further breakdown on that, but there's two. So I guess a general answer to your question is there's two amounts. One is the portion that we are required under legislation to fund to the library. And then there is the portion, because we are the owners of the building, that pay for on the operational side for the library to allow it to operate within the building that they're in, which they stay in for rent-free, other than the district headquarters is there and they actually do pay a lease, but the library itself operates within the building at no cost.
And that's exactly what I was asking about, was that portion. And I was wondering if that portion is in that $290,000 line or not. And if that information's not readily available, it's okay. I should have given you a heads up on that, and I didn't, so.
Yeah, I believe it probably is, but I can't confirm
believe
it.
it is, but I'll have to confirm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I just wanted some clarification on the D-transfer tax Councillor McGrath had brought up. I thought he said there was a difference of $100,000, but 192%. We budgeted 600,000. We took in 1,155,000 plus. The difference is 555,000. We've almost doubled our money in D-transfer tax.
Yeah, and just, as and Ms. Russell knows this, the biggest thing there's a number of revenue line items, and D-transfer tax is one of them, where we have, it's typically budgeted at the same figure as the previous year. And the current fiscal year, or 24-25, there was a single transaction that contributed to the largest portion of that amount, which is one of the major buildings in town sold. And in fact, as of last week, we had another similar sale. So again, we know that that's going to impact, because the problem with D-transfer tax is we have no idea what sales will be like over the year. And in this particular case, when you have a large building that's assessed at millions of dollars, when it changes hands, it's good from a revenue perspective for us. But again, we just can't predict that it's going to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Dolter. Deputy Mayor?
Perhaps Mr. Talbot would like to speak on the issue at hand, so I'll bow out and I'll come in after him, if that's fine with Mr. Talbot.
Okay.
In terms of the D-transfer tax, and I'm not making a statement for or against it, but I did review the information that the CAO sent out, and the majority of municipal units have pegged this rate at 1.5. There's also a close number that's at 1%, and I think Mulgrave doesn't charge any, and there's another at 0.5. So all that to say, what we are proposing is not out of line with what's happening across the province.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, I'd like to direct my question, Madam Mayor, to Ms. Russell or perhaps Ms. Sims, who's Director of Parks and Rec, and it has to do with this bottle fill station. I know it's not much money, but I'm just was wondering what it is. Is it a 12-month bottle fill? Perhaps someone could answer that. I'm just interested in that because I think it might be interesting to the public.
Sure. No, it's just a different version of a fountain. So it is larger. You see them at a number of public facilities and schools, and people can fill up their reusable water bottles.
And where is it located?
It's going to be inside Douglas Street Recreation Center.
Thank you very much.
Councillor McGrath, did you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not question, just thank Deputy or Councillor Fleming for the mistake. What I was looking at, I was looking at the actuals from last year, not from this year. It was the wrong number, but it is. I think my point still stands that when we are looking at the percentages, yes, it is 500,000, but again, in a budget of 37+ million, it is still, a very small amount, and I think I'm still right about the 21,000, but I will leave my comments there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, now we're moving on to Fire Services Report with Chief Lois Curry. Chief?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Council. For the month of April, we had 84 alarms. We did 2 structure fires, 1 grass fire, 4 motor vehicle collisions, medical calls for 56, 16 alarms, 1 propane leak, 1 elevator rescue, 1 police assistance, and 1 public assistance. The fire inspector's report, he did 6 inspections, 34 mall follow-ups from his previous inspections, and another additional 5 follow-ups. He did 1 alcohol and gaming inspection, gave out 4 vendor permits, did 2 fire investigations, and give out 7 orders to take actions. He noted that work continues with myself and Natural Resources on the Fire Smart program. We recently introduced and engaged our staff and some online training in the same program. The fire inspector's continuing to work with town staff to develop and update our fire safety plans for our buildings. Fire training for last month, we did basic firefighting skills out in Salmon River, and we worked on our wildland firefighting skills also. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Chief. I don't see any questions for you. Oh, I do? Oh, now they're popping up. Here we go. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, Chief, I was wondering if you could just fill out what Fire Smart program is for the people that are listening online.
So the Fire Smart program is going to eventually move into a community program where we can go around and help property owners clean up their properties that are on the urban interface. So like, for instance, everybody here knows Burnett Street is right on Victoria Park. So where the woods and the houses are built together, it's a program that we can go out and actually help citizens clean up their properties, put plans together, do some educational pieces. So it's a whole, eventually it'll be into a community event, I guess. And if anybody in the community wants to look at it, just go on it's just called Fire Smart. There's other communities across Canada that are already involved in it, and we're just starting to get involved in it now. Does that help?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Talbot.
Yes, Chief Blois, I believe in the budget that there's a pending approval to hire an additional firefighter, and I'm just wondering what consideration is being given to increasing our diversity on that force.
One of the things when we did actually we're replacing 2 vacancies now, and then moving forward, as we talked about before, we're looking at increasing our staffing levels over the next 4 years if everything goes according to plans. But we did specify in our application that we are looking for minorities to try to bring our numbers up in our ranks in the fire service. So we're kind of actively looking. We've had some conversations with some community members too, at looking at ways that where we are trying to do some hiring over the next 4 years, we can actually plan and work with some of the community minorities to get them to start looking at that as a career in the future. So what we really want to do is try to get out and hit the younger kids at school to show them that there is an opportunity there to bring themselves up to speed and possibly be a firefighter. because there's not a lot of promotions in our schools right now for that. So it's kind of building the process as we go so that we can be more open out there in the community so they can see what the possibilities are when they graduate from school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I could, so I mean, so, you know, public awareness, if the current plan we have, and it is a plan at this point, is to hire additional firefighter each year for the next 4 years. So again, that'll give the opportunity for individuals that are interested in joining the fire service to, you know, to take advantage and get training, and so we can do that, which I think is important for diversification of the force for sure. The other item, Madam Mayor, that the chief came last week is actually approached DNRR on we're trying to acquire a used provincial vehicle, we'll call it our bush truck, which we're using for the responding into Victoria Park for bushfires, is older and has some issues, and so we're looking to replace it with a not so older version if the province can make it available, and so we have approached the NRR to do that, and hopefully we'll be successful because the vehicles will be declared surplus. So we thought it was probably a prudent way to acquire a vehicle at minimal or no cost, if possible, and that would be the new bush truck to respond to fires within the park should they happen.
Mr. Dolter and I have got a good working relationship now. He knows my two favorite words are no cost, so that's positive. And your comments are very positive, Chief, with the hiring in place, so thank you very much. Councillor Graham.
With regard to our hiring practices, I'd just like to remind Council that with the hiring of our DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion person, we've all learned that it's not just about bringing our numbers up, it's actually about improving our services and enhancing the delivery of services to our community when we have a more diverse group of employees. So it's not really just about bringing our numbers up. And I know that was probably just a slip of the tongue, but it is
Yes, it was.
a very important distinction that we need to be aware of and to make.
Thank you. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chief, for your report. I'll echo the other comments that diversity is absolutely important. I know we are getting some diversity in gender, seeing some diversity in skin color and backgrounds would also be welcomed, because as Councillor Graham has correctly pointed out, it benefits all of us to have that diversity. I just wanted to ask a bit of a process question about the distinction between the inspections. You've got the Truro Mall follow-up inspections and the other follow-up inspections, not just labeled others. Why the separation in between those?
I believe because where the mall is such a huge department, and each individual store gets an inspection, that's why you would have the number of like 42 inspections there. So I think he just wants to make note that large facility is completed. So normally you would see in our reports that there'd be 10 inspections last month. You might see 10 follow-ups this month. Instead of listing out each apartment building or business within the town,
Right.
just puts it down as follow-ups. I think where this is a big facility, that he wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that he did the entire facility.
And doesn't want Councillor McGrath to say, hey, why did we do so many more inspections this month over last month?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Chief. Now we're moving on to Planning and Development Report, and Mr. Fox, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a planning development report for April 2025. Planning projects, naturalized lawn policy regulations. Staff currently working on a review of examples of naturalized lawn policies and regulations from other municipal jurisdictions across Canada, and also some research on the topic. Staff will be preparing a report and recommendation on a recommended naturalized lawn policy and regulations for Truro that will be presented to Council at the June or July meeting. Planning applications, I have 9 listed there. There's actually 10 now. 656 Yonge Street, 60 Gulf Street, 730 Yonge Street, 373 Roby Street, 201 Callback, 67 Inglis, 37 Braemar, 1 at Rexdale Ford in Marshland, one at McClure's Mills and Lower Truro Road, and I have a new one, which is 5456 Walker. Site plan approval, we have one application for 161 McLean Street. And in terms of April building and permits, building and development permits, the value in April 2024, we were at $18,986,565. We are only at $5,241,556 for April 2025. In terms of bylaw enforcement, we had 39 active files in the month of April, and 8 of those have been resolved, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. And first question for Director Fox is from Councillor Graham.
I was just wondering, are we starting to see improvement in our vacancy rate now that we have, you know, some completed developments and more on the books, and things to me seem to be improving, but do you have any statistical data to support that?
I do not.
Thanks.
Councillor Talbot?
Yeah, Jason, you may not have this right at hand, but if you do, could we get an update on the Ford Street property that would be the Old Times property that Wendell Thomas had a permit in on?
Yeah, I can have that for you at next month's meeting, or I can just send you an email if you'd prefer. Okay.
Thank you. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Fox, for your report. I know I asked this question last month and you answered it after council, so I just wanted to have it on the record that I keep asking about site plan approvals on the town website, and you indicated after the previous meeting that is done, and I did confirm that. So anyone who's looking can see it's in with the rest of the developments. It's just some of them are labeled as development agreements, some of them are labeled as site plan approval. Also want to thank you and staff for your work on the naturalized lawn policy and regulations. I am looking forward to hearing what we have to say about that. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Thomas?
Yeah, Mr. Fox, you know, last year to date, in April, it was 18.9 million. This year to date, it's 5.2 million. And I know there's large variations between the years, but is there any particular reason why? Because we've been approving, you know, development, it seems to me quite consistently, you know, every month or so, where it seems as though new development has come before council for approval. So is it just the winter, or do you have any clue as to why they're down?
It just varies from year to year based on we could have a large project one year, and last year we had several large projects, but you'll have one project this year. I anticipate Stanfield's making application. That'll be $60 million, so that'll round out your permit numbers there too.
Right.
A little bit more consistent
Okay.
with what we've been seeing.
No need for alarm. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Fox. Busy times in the planning department these days. Moving on to Truro Police Service with Chief Dave McNeil. Your report, Chief.
Thanks, Mayor Hinton. The report for April is as follows. We had 23 motor vehicle collisions, issued 186 summary fence tickets for traffic violations, 22 road safety check stops, 11 noise and bylaw type complaints, 7 impaired driving investigations, 114 other provincial calls for Trespass Act and Liquor Control Act. Mental health and well-being checks, there were 38 mental health calls, 25 well-being checks for a total of 63 in total, 15 violation of court order investigations, 12 crimes against person, 13 assaults, 27 thefts, 27 reports of disturbances or property damage, 2 break-and-enters, 9 frauds or forgery investigations, 104 suspicious person or vehicle calls, 19 alarms, and 147 other calls for general assistance. Total calls for the month's 801 with 184 charges. There were 33 parking tickets and 44 speeding offenses. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Chief. First question is from Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chief, for your report. Happy to see the collisions appear to be down a bit this month. I don't know to what we attribute that, but I am happy to see it. I wanted to ask about the parking tickets of all things, just because I see there are tickets issued for parked within 7.5 meters of an intersection and parked within 10 meters of a stop sign. I might follow up with Minister Ritzy's office on why the Motor Vehicle Act distinguishes between the two, as I would think most intersections would have a stop sign. It seems like a bit of a a discrepancy there, but my question is more about if we can work with Public Works, because this seems like a good opportunity to daylight some intersections. So if we have people parking too close to the intersections, maybe we start out with putting in some planters or some sort of other obstruction that allows visibility but prevents people from blocking these intersections. Is that something we can investigate doing?
No, it's better to leave it with the numbers that are in the Motor Vehicle Act, because that would be a huge expense for us to go around town to try to do that kind of work at every intersection. And there is a distinction between stop sign and intersection, because stop signs quite often are just at one street or two streets and not necessarily all four, and plus it's the traffic going the opposite direction. So there's still a distance from the intersection that also needs, it's two different circumstances.
Right, so what I'm hearing you say, we are not going to investigate daylighting intersections for public safety.
Oh, we could investigate it, sure. It'd be a huge expense, and it'd be a huge project, but sure, if that's the wish of council.
Well,
do that.
again, not looking at pouring millions of dollars of concrete, but something inexpensive as a, and I keep saying this, we have the ability, I believe, to take low cost, if not low cost, I'll throw that in for the mayor's benefit, low cost solutions like placing a planter somewhere that prevents large vehicles from taking up that space and blocking the visibility, and doubles as beautifying our town and improving public safety.
Yes, but my point is that low-cost planters, you start adding them up, and it's still going to be a high-cost project, but yeah, we'll investigate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I have a question and a comment for the chief. The comment's not for him, it's the question. It's in regards to our radar trailer that we got last year. Is that up and running, or I haven't seen it, or?
It is, yeah.
Okay, great. So if anyone wants to call, or they have issues with their speeding in their neighborhoods, that's when it starts this time of year.
Yep.
You can give the police a call and they can set that radar up. It's great. And the comment I have is, on social media, I noticed that you had a meeting with all the, well, not all, but local municipal police services to work together on major crimes. That's excellent. It's been a long time coming, and I can tell you, so what that means is when we have a major incident here in Truro, it won't only be officers from our area, but it'll be officers from Amherst, New Glasgow, Trenton, Stellarton. The whole area will come together, all their investigators, and we'll have a team of 10, 15, 16 people to investigate it right off the get-go. So that's excellent. Well done.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Graham.
Through social media, I've seen some promotion from the police services about the presence of police officers in the Hub Shopping Centre. I think that sounds like a really great program. I was wondering if you could expand on it a little, and I was wondering if there's any additional costs to our police services to be present in the mall in that way.
Yeah, first question, I guess, is, yeah, the mall office is open. We opened it a month or so ago. We did get a provincial grant for that through the, through the Proceeds of Crime grant funding, so we were able to get a grant. So there's no additional cost to the municipality for that. It's a community office, so we run community programs out of it. On this Thursday, we're starting running a Senior Safeties Academy, so we would encourage everybody to sign up for that if you want to listen to talks about crime prevention and fraud prevention for seniors and different things. Each week there's a different topic. So it's a community office. It's there for the community, and Constable Mosier is our community officer, and he works in there, and he'd be happy to see you if you want to drop by.
Where in the mall is it?
It's at the Mark's Work Warehouse entrance.
Thank you, Councillor. It's a great office, and I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of traffic in there. Councillor Talbot, Councillor Pryor, and I were there for the opening, and it's very positive. And I think we're going to, actually, tomorrow, I think we're going to be around that area when we do our event for the 150th anniversary. I asked if we could be near the office there, so to put a little more highlight on the office being opened. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, this question, Chief, has to do with parking. I was just wondering, it's a bit of an annoyance for me, and it probably is for other people as well. Between the curb and the sidewalk, there's often a green spot there, a green strip. And it's usually people with large tired vehicles, like a big truck or whatever. see themselves as blocking the road somehow. And so what they do is they go up over the curb and onto that grass strip. And they create quite a large divot, which in turn I have to fill probably every spring on my property. Also causes compaction in the grass, and it's just a hassle. I see it happening to neighbors' properties as well. And when it's an apartment building, it's usually not filled in. So sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes it's just an annoyance. And so when people get out of their vehicles, there's a big divot that they have to, there's a danger of tripping and falling. So do you ever ticket those people? Is that something that is ticketed when you see that someone up over the curb and onto that green trying to move the vehicle off the road farther? Is that ever ticketed?
It's a ticketable offense, yeah. So if you see it, you can call us and we'll address it.
Okay. Thank you. So I just want to repeat, it's a ticketable offense. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Chief. Okay, now.
Madam Mayor?
Oh,
Just an item came up last week, just wanted to.
yes.
And so the province is in the process right now of reviewing the Traffic Safety Act. Staff received an email last week, and there'll be information sessions that actually start this week on some of the general changes that are being made. And then there's going to be a working session scheduled to start happening after May 15th. They're asking staff and traffic authorities to be involved with involving police. So essentially the Traffic Safety Act there's some fairly large changes going to be occurring. And again, they're going to be doing a phased approach on how rolling the changes out because it is so significant. So we'll have more information on this as we get involved. I've asked traffic authority and the chief of police to attend one of the sessions so that we can start getting some of the information, and they'll be coming down through some of the other channels, and then we'll be able to brief council as we move into some of the changes on how things are going to be affected. So again, it'll be we don't have any of the real detail here, but I guess that'll come out during the information sessions.
Thank you for that, Mr. Dalter. Item 6F, Public Works Report. Director McKinnon?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, attached is the Public Works Monthly Report for April of 2025. Engineering summary. During the month of April, the Public Works staff continue working on asset management projects. Staff continue with project oversight services of the TAC Grounds redevelopment and the Argus Drive Ballfield projects. The rail yard pump track project, and also now providing oversight service for the stadium rebuild project. As the extended producer responsibility system has been enacted, circular materials has been selected by the producers for the collection of the 2 recyclable streams of our 4-stream curbside collection program. We were initially going to try to make a decision today for opting in or out, but I'll be doing a presentation later just further details of the program. Public Works summary. Transportation crews have been busy with street patching and sign maintenance. They actually did some more snow and ice back at the beginning of the month and continue with downtown maintenance and street sweeping. Environmental services crews continue with water and sewer maintenance activities, which included hydrant maintenance, catch basin, manhole maintenance, and pump maintenance. Crews also renewed 1 sanitary sewer lateral and attended to 1 water main break. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. First question, Councillor Graham.
Mr. McKinnon, we've spoken about this before, and then I kind of let it fall off the radar a little bit, and we haven't circled back. But every time I run into Mr. Collins from Ford Street, he asks me about Cross Street, and I promised him I would bring it to your attention again to ask about if we could consider, or if you've already considered, making that a one-way street.
We're still considering it, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll be able to tell him I brought it up again.
Councillor Talbot?
Yeah, Andrew, this is kind of a follow-up from complaint received about access out of Roosevelt Avenue. I put it in the system. I know you talked to the complainant. I got a follow-up call. He didn't think we were doing much about it, but I know one of the things you and I discussed is whether or not some type of permanent marking could be put down so that at least when the light is red on going north on Willow, they wouldn't be blocking off Roosevelt. And Could we at least have a look at that?
Yes, I'm gonna look into that, and I'll talk to our traffic engineering consultant, because we could sign it and maybe even paint the intersection. Paint the intersection kind of an awful maintenance issue, but at least sign it. The only concern would be if we do sign it to do not block the intersection and one lane doesn't block it, and somebody comes out of Roosevelt and turns left and crosses the lane that isn't blocked, and then they get hit by a car coming the other way, are we going to be partially at fault because of signing it the way we did? So kind of hesitant to jump right at that, but I will talk to our consultants.
I'll need the final resolution with you. I just wanted to bring that.
Councillor Pryor?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. McKinnon, two questions. One, will we be getting any more LED lights at some of the crossings? And number two, do you have an estimated time on repairs on Prince Street, by Cobble Roach and FYI Doctors, Laurie Street and McLean Street?
The first one for the LED crosswalk lights, we're looking at trying to do a comprehensive plan of all of our main mid-block crosswalks that don't have the advantage of being protected by a stop sign or a traffic light or a walk light. We're trying to prioritize those all around the main downtown area, so Walker, Queen, Willow, Esplanade, Arthur, that whole kind of circle around the downtown, and Prince Street as well. In combination of that, and also we bought some flags so that we can flag some of the crosswalks. So we want to kind of set the priorities and do it. Right now, those are considered further protection devices of crosswalks. And if we go by the national standard for further protection of crosswalks, and if we just went by that national standard, none of our crosswalks would be warranted to put these further protections in. But we think that there's advantage to having some of them, but we'd like to do it based on a warrant basis, so that we don't just start going to every intersection in town that somebody, or every crosswalk in town that somebody wants a light or a flag at. So we're trying to develop our own standard so that we can do this based on a warrant principle and set our own priorities, and we are investigating that now. I have staff working on that.
Great.
And the patching, the 3 locations I mentioned, they're all in the system to be done. So depending on the level of traffic, the street, like Prince Street will probably be the higher priority over the other 2 that you mentioned that are both residential. Also, the Prince Street one that you mentioned is also in line for capital repaving too. So it may just get a touch-up, knowing that we're also going to pave the area later.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. Through you to Mr. McKinnon. Staying on the street topic, the street, road, laneway, whatever you want to call it, between Callback Street and Willow Street. I guess the first question is, do we own it? Does the town own it?
Unfortunately, we do own it. It's the old Dominion Atlantic Railway, so I always call it the DAR road. The rail line used to connect to the CN line close to King Street, and that's what the trail is built on. It is on top of the old rail bed, right down and across McClure's Brook. So that section between Callback and King was their main yard that they used to have some of their extra cars parked on, and it became a road that they used back and forth. So we inherited a road that was never built to a town standard, so we own the land, but we don't consider it a town street, but it's used by the public as a town street. I had proposed to council a number of years ago that we try to put it up for sale for private developers. You know, somebody might be able to build on it. I don't know. I mean, we do have infrastructure under it, just not the proper infrastructure to build a street on. But there's very good chance we might be able to sell it to a private person. So I would like to see council consider that again in the future.
Yeah, and in the short term, is there any way we can patch it up?
In the short term, yes, we will be patching it up, but it's kind of low on our priority list compared to the town streets that we are obligated to maintain.
Yeah, understandable, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Also a busy time for you and your crew. We can practically smell the asphalt now, so a busy time coming up. Our final report is for Parks and Recreation and Culture with Director Ashley Sims. Director?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Seasonal staff resumed to work on April 22nd. Spring cleanup, regular maintenance, and preparation of sport fields are currently underway. Many fields officially opened for the season on April 21st. At the Colchester Legion Stadium, a total of 169.5 hours of ice time was booked in April. The ice plant was shut down on April 21st. The Victoria Park Slope Remediation Project has been completed, and the main access trail to the falls is once again open to the public. Progress continues on the Vela Solutions Pump Track Initiative. 2 conceptual designs were created based on input from a public engagement survey. Community members had until Friday, May 2nd to vote on their preferred design. As weather continues to improve, residents are reminded that campsites and bonfires are prohibited in Victoria, are not allowed in Victoria Park and all other Town of Truro parks and green spaces. Any unauthorized campsites and/or fires should be reported to the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Department. In the event of an emergency, please call 911. The remaining street side hazard tree removals are scheduled to be completed by the end of the month. And a public information session on Hemlock Woolly Adelgid HWA will be held on May 6th at 7 p.m. at the Truro Fire Hall. The session will include details on the town's protection plan and treatment strategy. The annual Easter egg hunt was held in Victoria Park on April 12th. The event saw all tickets claimed and was once again a strong success. The Town of Truro Art Acquisition Show ran throughout April and received 39 submissions. As already commented on today, the selection committee chose 2 winning pieces, and congratulations to all the artists for a successful and inspiring event. The town has secured funding through the Canada Summer Jobs Program, which will support 10 summer student employment opportunities this summer. Our hiring process is currently underway. Our summer equipment loan program is now live. A full list of available games and equipment can be found on the Town of Truro website, and several community drop-in programs are ongoing, and planning for the summer events and programming is well underway. Once again, please visit our website for a list of those programs. Nominations are now open for the Town of Truro Volunteer Awards. To be considered for the provincial award, nominations needed to be submitted by May 4th. The deadline for all other local awards is May 16th. Throughout April, the Town of Truro recognized and celebrated several important community dates, including Autism Awareness Day, Easter, and Earth Day. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Just looking for questions. Councillor Talbot?
Yes, Ashley, there are a number of rumors circulating around with respect to the golf course, driving range, and what their long-term plans may be. Obviously, the community are privy to those rumors, but not to any fact. So I'm getting a lot of questions around the ability to water the community gardens in the morning, and whether or not, because there are a lot more kids there now, whether or not they can play beforehand now. Basically, what I'm explaining to people is that currently we have an agreement with the golf course that was negotiated that allows the golf course to, the driving range to operate from 7 in the morning to 1, and then the playground subsequent hours. But I'm just wondering, has the town been in any conversations with the golf course concerning their long-range plans for that piece of property?
Yeah, I have spoken with the golf pro a couple times. He has informed me that the driving range is opening tomorrow. So we will be returning to shared hours tomorrow, but he has shared his long-term goals, but I don't know where that is. So if they will be closing the driving range and moving to a different project, I'm not sure where they are with that.
Rumors I'm hearing as a golfer is that they're considering putting in some type of structures where they would actually hit into a net that was, you'd be hitting towards the golf course and not towards West Prince Street. So I wonder if we might have a follow-up with them just to try to get a better understanding of the time frame for any changes that they are planning, and then I can advise the community residents Because right now, basically what I'm saying is, this is out of our control. There is a signed agreement in place, and those are the hours.
Okay, thank you for that. Seeing no further questions, thank you very much, Ms. Sims. And councillors, are there any further questions on any of the reports presented today? Okay. Deputy Mayor Thomas.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment just about this non-street. I was just wondering, Mr. McKinnon, there's a lot of development recently on Colback Street, and there's another a proposed five-story building to go up on Colback Street to join in with the other 4 stories that have just recently completed. So there's increased traffic on Colback Street. And you'd think that people would go up to Glenwood, go down Glenwood, go on to Willow and go around the roundabout to get into town. But some of them are going to come down Colback Street. And I know that many turn left on this no-name street to get to Willow as a shortcut, and then down Willow into town. And so I just see this as this problem isn't going away, it's only going to intensify. So, and though I appreciate your answer, I think it is an issue that needs to be addressed somehow. Either the town adopts it as a street, or we close it off, or something, because it's full of potholes. Its use is only going to increase as we get more development on Colback. Just a comment and an observation. I don't have an answer to it, and just want to bring it to everyone's attention.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much more traffic you've noticed on Colback Street, but the traffic impact statements for the development did not indicate that to be that much more traffic. And like you say, they are a lot closer to Glenwood than they are to Arthur, but if they come down Colback Street, they'd be very much encouraged to go right to Arthur Street and turn right on Arthur, as opposed to going across the no-name street to Willow. And if it ever gets to the point that we do need to make improvements in the area, I would highly recommend that we consider building a roundabout at Arthur and Willow and Colback before we invest money in the DAR road.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, just a follow up there. Councillor Graham asked about the library funding, so we just did get an answer on that. So, of the $297,000, as we suspected, 90,000 of that is based on the formula funding, and so 207,000 is the actual operating dollars that the town puts into the building in order to allow the library to operate.
Thank you for that. Okay, Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just getting back to the unnamed road, I think we need to really take a closer look at that before we consider closing it down or shutting it off, because there are people with driveways on that unnamed road. So I'm not sure what like what their address is, where are those houses considered to be? And if we were to sell that land, how do those people then access their property? I think it's probably not something that we can solve here today in this meeting.
I do have a quick, short answer on that. Those driveways aren't supposed to be there. When that development was approved, it was approved based on all of their driveway access being from the old hospital parking lot up above, where they have an easement access to Willow Street. They were never supposed to put the driveways down to the DAR road.
Okay, so then was there never any follow-up done with the developer that they didn't comply with the requirements of their development?
I don't know an answer to that. I wasn't told to go dig them up.
Yeah, I think the problem.
We have gear to do that.
I think the problem at the time is they were in before we realized what the designs had changed. So again, it's one of those things that we monitor more closely, that developments are actually being done and completed the way they've been depicted in the agreements.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's to my point. That's not something that's going to get solved today, but clearly it's much more complicated than some people believe it may be, because again, those driveways that they may not supposed to be there, but they are there right now, and those people, if that was blocked off, they would lose their driveway access. But it is something I think we do need to follow up, and I think certainly we need to keep in mind going forward, again, with all of the development that is happening and ensuring that developers are keeping to their designs and their plans. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Talbot.
Yeah, I don't have a position on this one way or the other, this, when I'm talking about this on-name road, but I will point out that at a previous council, we reviewed a proposal to close that street, and this chamber was full, as most people I've ever seen in it, and they were opposed to it. So obviously there are a lot of people using that right away. So like I say, I don't know what the answer is, but I think you're going to get a lot of public kickback if you want to close it.
I remember that well, Councillor. Yeah, I remember that well. I would now call for a motion to accept all the committee reports today. Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Fleming. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. All reports are accepted. And thank you, directors, for your reports today. Item 7 is question by members, and I know Councillor Graham is just biting at the bit to make her motion. So take it away, Councillor Graham.
Well, with the patience of council, I do have a 2-minute preamble to my motion, if you don't mind. It's been previously circulated to all of you, but it's more for the benefit of our thousands of people in the viewing public. Public libraries all across our province provide critical services to people in all of our communities. In the winter, they serve as unofficial warming centers. They provide public washroom access. They are a safe haven for those finding themselves in vulnerable situations. They provide free internet services and other computer supports. They deliver programming on a variety of topics, from food security to tax preparation. Families use the spaces in libraries for safe custody visits with their children. Children participate in story time and craft activities. Teens have designated safe spaces to gather, participate in organized activities, and do their homework. Seniors use libraries as a gathering spot for socialization and learning opportunities. There are more than 80 libraries, not including satellite locations and bookmobiles across the province, currently underfunded, and therefore they are reducing their programs, reducing staff hours and their operational hours. Some libraries are being forced to dip into their reserves just to stay afloat. Libraries are staffed by 85 to 95% women. These women are highly skilled, well-educated, talented, and passionate about their communities and our citizens. Every day, librarians are doing work and supporting citizens who may otherwise fall through the cracks. The work that librarians do is viewed by some as the responsibility by the province, and they are doing it without reasonable or fair compensation. Many are providing these services and earn well below a living wage. It's been 5 years since the current funding formula has been reviewed. Before that, it was 2008, and before that, it was 2003. Municipalities, as is evident by the numbers our financial officer presented us with today, are doing their part, but now it's time for the province to step up to the plate and do its part. The funding formula must be more reflective to accurately acknowledge the contribution of capital costs carried by the municipalities, and an increase of funding needs to be made by the province. The province needs to recognize that the services libraries provide is another case of downloading of services without fair compensation. So I'd like to make a motion to council this afternoon that public libraries provide collections, programming, and services on behalf of the town of Truro and the province of Nova Scotia, and they contribute significantly to the health and well-being of the citizens of Nova Scotia. And due to rising costs, public libraries in Nova Scotia can no longer sustain these said collections, programs, and services without significantly depleting their reserve funds, and they are unable to provide a living wage for the majority of their library staff. The current funding formula for public libraries in Nova Scotia does not account for municipal contributions for capital costs, and the funding formula has now expired. Funding for public libraries in Nova Scotia is currently under review by the provincial government. So I'd like to move that the issue of adequate and sustainable funding for public libraries in Nova Scotia be brought forth to the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities for consideration of an advocacy priorities.
Thank you, Councillor. The motion has been made. I need a seconder. Councillor McGrath. Do we have any discussion on this? Deputy Mayor.
Perhaps the only thing that I didn't hear, and perhaps it was under collections, and I'm not trying to be cute here, but I didn't hear loan of books, but it might be under collections. Is that what that is? Yes. Okay, and periodicals as well, like books and periodicals are known as collectibles. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Graham, for the motion. I just wanted to highlight to Council that I am absolutely in support of this. Everything that has been said is true. Libraries are critical to the functioning of a society. They are one of the few remaining free third places that remain in a community, somewhere that's away from home or work, where people can gather, where we can have community, where we can share knowledge and activities, and I will be supporting the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Tabbitt.
Yeah, I'll also be supporting the motion for all the reasons given, and furthermore, because we're going after the province and not the municipal unit to put up the funding.
Very.
Madam Mayor, that's just one point of clarity on the motion is we're asking for an increase in provincial funding.
Provincial funding.
Because last time they did this, they hit the municipalities with a big increase without any consultation. So we're talking about increase in provincial funding.
Yes. Okay. So the motion's been made. It's been seconded with the note that it's not municipal funded. Further, it is provincially funded. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, the motion is passed. Good work, Councillor Graham. Item 8A, new business, a request for decision, 201 Callback Street, the set public hearing date. Mr. Dolter, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we have a development agreement with RA Architects Incorporated to permit a 5-story multi-unit residential apartment building comprising of 63 units at 201 Callback Street, which is under PID 204-75240. So the proposed motion sounds very similar. So be it resolved, the council set a public hearing date for June 2nd, 2025 to consider entering into development agreement with RM Architects Incorporated to permit a 5-story multi-unit residential apartment building comprised of 63 units on 201 Callback Street.
Thank you, Mr. Dolter. Calling for a motion. Councillor McGrath, seconder Councillor Fleming. Discussion, councillors, on this. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion is passed. Thank you very much.
So, Madam Mayor, just one thing, just for point of clarity for the public too, and maybe for council. From now on, when our minutes are done, and this comes out of the session that myself and Ms. Rowe attended, the minutes, for all intents and purposes, will reflect the approved motion as opposed to all the discussion, because the critical thing for the public to understand is what did council approve. So again, the proposed motion that you vote on, the minutes will reflect that motion in order to ensure there's clarity. During the sessions, one of our motions went forward, and when I read it, I went, yeah, you have to agree. You don't know what council voted on. So again, we have to ensure that when the minutes are published, that people understand exactly what council decided.
Thank you for that. Now we're on to item 8B, and it's going to be the extended producer responsibilities. And Director McKinnon is going to razzle-dazzle us with his presentation. And push that microphone and I'll release there we go.
All right, yes, here is a presentation on the extended producer responsibility system. So I'm just kind of go through this quick, and there's still a lot of things that are up in the air on this. I'll show you in a minute one of the slides that has a chart on all their deadlines on when things are going to be done, but it's kind of moving quicker than what anyone expected. But anyways, yes, on August 2nd of 23, Nova Scotia Extended Producer Responsibility Regulation was approved by the province for packaging paper products and packaging like products. The EPR is a policy approach in which the producers, the businesses that supply the packaging and paper, are financially responsible and accountable for those materials over their full life cycle. So the whole idea is right now, every municipality is responsible for recycling, and it's at our cost. And the theory was that if it was put back on the producers of the products, then maybe they would slow down on the amount of recyclable materials they produce in the first place if they have to pay for it. So that's where this is turning, that they are now responsible. Circular Materials is the company is operating as the non-for-profit producer responsible organization in Nova Scotia that supports the producers in meeting their obligations under the regulations. So they're the company that the producers picked to do the collection of their materials. So the new extended producer responsibility for packaging, paper products, packaging-like products regulation sets out the industry responsibilities for the operational and financial management of certain recyclable materials, which is basically everything we're doing now except one. EPR is recognized as one of the most effective mechanisms at improving recycling rates and advance a circular economy. As per the regulation, Circular Materials must extend collection offers 6 months before the implementation date, ensuring all offers align with collection design principles. And the date that they're supposed to implement is December 1st. So here is the chart that shows the timelines. As you can see, they started, the agreements were released back in December, and through the regional solid waste committee, questions and feedback were done by December of last year, and then they were posting the responses in February, and they sent their offer of compensation to us in February. We received that, and it's a little bit more than what we're paying now for our recyclables. And then the end of February, we're supposed to provide clear written intent to opt in or opt out. We did that. We wrote a letter to them on the opting in. But then there's supposed to be a deadline in the middle of this month for councils to confirm that we're approving opt-in if we're opting into their, for them being responsible for opting in for us to continue the collection on their behalf and them paying us money to continue with the collection. There's a few things up in the air. Right now, this one doesn't affect us, but it affects every other municipality in the province. Circular Materials said they're not going to pick up the styrofoam that has been part of our recyclable collection now for the last 2 or 3 years since the county's found a process to recycle it. All the big styrofoam blocks that come with electrical components and your little styrofoam trays from the meat, those are part of our recyclables. They'll still be part of the recyclables, but they're not going to, actually this one does affect us. They're not going to collect those. They're saying that they have to be taken to a depot area, and then they'll take them, but not part of the collection. And right now it's part of our collection, but every other municipality in the province, it isn't part of their collection, just us in Colchester. But the big one that's kind of delaying, and I think our May 16 deadline is going to be moved to June, is that the industrial, commercial, and institutional uses will not be part of their program. Their program, they're only responsible for residential collection, which doesn't affect us any because all of our collection right now is just residential, but every other municipality, including Colchester, does do some commercial collection because they do collection for all, they allow nonprofits in, all the commercial nonprofits in, and so that's a big one, and that's a stumbling block. So right now they're having a hard time getting agreement between the municipalities and Circular Materials on the collection. So, and then our opt-in, opt-out, here are the two models of the opting in and the opting out. So if we opt in, we'll continue managing the current recycling collection, which we have a contract with our contractor right now. If we opt in, that's fine. They're gonna pay us a little bit more than what we're currently paying. We're paying around 180,000 for our recycle streams per year, and they're gonna pay us 205,000 for the year, so actually make a little bit of money. But the problem is, once this goes on, are we gonna end up having to break our contract with the contractor, or are we gonna end up continuing a contract with them and then the costs are actually higher than what they're paying us? So we need to figure out with Circular Materials what the implications are gonna be when we extend our contract, or if we opt out, are we breaking our contract with our contractor, which could get us in legal trouble? So those are things we need to discuss and continue. At this point, I just wanted to kind of give council a presentation on the difference between the opting in and the opting out. Either way, Circular Materials is going to be responsible for the collection of our two recyclable streams, our papers and our plastics. It's just, if we opt in, we're going to continue our contract with our contractor, and we'll pay them, and Circular Materials will pay us. If we opt out, then the Circular Materials will have to either make a contract with our contractor or find another contractor to do it, and then we might be into a different level of service for all of our residents. So the opting out is what might be scary for what we get for level service with our residents, whereas we opt in, we still have a little bit of control. So I'll leave it on this screen here for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McKinnon. Councillor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. How will this affect the garbage?
The garbage,
that's-
the garbage and compost are not affected by this at all.
Okay.
So right now we have a 4-stream collection. We have our garbage, our compost, and then 2 streams of recycles. This is only for the 2 streams of the recycles.
Okay, so every second, but yeah, it won't change. It'll be
Correct.
the same companies are doing the same things they're doing
Yes.
now, so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Graham?
Is Circular Materials the name of the company?
Yes.
Okay.
It is. I know it's a little confusing because it's,
Is this, yeah.
yeah.
Are they a unionized company?
I do not know that.
Okay.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Thomas?
So how does Amazon come into this? They pay, do they? Circular Materials? That was my question. Like, how do the people that are actually sending the
Well,
boxes
I
and
guess
stuff?
if Amazon creates packaging, they would be part of it, yes.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
those distributors that are
Yeah.
part of, they're all represented.
All of the manufacturers.
Right.
So
No.
the whole theory is that it's gonna slow down the manufacturers from
Understood,
using
yeah.
so much packaging and
The-
selling a good.
Right.
If I could, the way this is actually funded is everything you buy for the manufacturers have opted into this are charging the consumer a fee, which goes back to the manufacturer to do EPR. Until we signed this agreement with Nova Scotia government, this fund was accumulating but wasn't benefiting anybody. It was just being collected.
Right.
So now that we've opted in, that's how the program is being funded. We're funding it. The consumers are funding it, but the money goes back in order to create the,
Is this national legislation then?
it's national, it goes across Canada, yeah.
It's
So
a national program,
Yeah.
but the province of Nova Scotia enacted it here in Nova Scotia. And the bottom line is, we don't have a choice. Like, the Circular Materials is going to take over the recycles. We're only opting in or opting out to continue doing the collection for them.
Right, so if you're a distributor or a manufacturer and you're shipping to an address within Canada, you're paying into, you're collecting money for this.
I don't know if the shippers are, it's whoever is creating the packaged materials in the
waste.
first place.
Yeah,
And a good example of one of the things that did happen when so the reason that textiles are out of this is the textile industry is not paying into EPR.
right.
So textiles are not part of the collection.
So the worst part about the province enacting this, and there are no choices, is that this is going to be implemented December 1st. And after December 1st, the company Circular Materials, they could start creating different rules. They could say, okay, we're not taking milk cartons anymore, or we're not taking this anymore.
Right.
So, but that's totally now going to be between Circular Materials and the province.
Are you aware of whether circular materials is provincial or national?
I think they picked up the contract for all the Atlantic provinces, but I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. McKinnon, for the presentation. The wording is a little bit weird with the opt-in, opt-out, because it does sound like we don't really have much choice.
No, because we're in one way or the other, but we're opting in on whether we're participating in helping them with the collection or not.
Yeah, because on the surface of it, when I hear opt-in, it sounds like, okay, we're going to opt into their program and they're going to handle it. But no, opting in means we're opting in to help them collect.
Correct.
And opting out is...
That's the essence of it, yes.
And opting out is we're getting out of that business entirely and letting them handle
Yeah,
it.
that's right. And then the money doesn't flow through us and we just wipe it off our books.
Not
but
confusing
we
at
have
all.
a contract with a contractor right now that we can't breach, so.
Right, so there are obviously legal ramifications. I mean, and the textiles, do you know, obviously you said the textile companies are not adding any sort of fee or levy on this, so they obviously are not getting collected now.
Correct. So textiles, so the two things that are going to be out on us right now that we know of are textiles and the styrofoam.
Okay, so then what are we, and the styrofoam?
Yes.
So this is net negative for us, really. We might be
For the
making some extra
collection,
money.
yes, yeah.
But
But we don't have that's provincial legislation. We don't, you know,
Hmm.
unless we can convince the provincial politicians that, hey, this contractor has to pick these up. But like Mike said, the textiles don't pay into it, so they don't have the funding to collect the textiles.
Right. So, yeah, so the balance of it is, it sounds like we might get a little extra money out of it if we opt in, and then we're in less, hopefully, legal trouble with regards to our contracts, and I'll leave that to the solicitor to maybe speak on. But on the other side of it, we're going to have to end up throwing textiles and the styrofoam into the trash.
Correct.
Well,
Correct.
the
Or
sty-
they
styrofoam,
can be
yeah.
you can drop them off at a depot. You won't be able to put them for curbside collection, but you can save them and take them to a depot. And same with the textiles, you can take to one of the bins that take textiles. So kind of so both of these were new to us within the last 3 or 4 years anyways, and prior to that, you know, we used to take all of our textiles to one of the bins or to one of the new to you stores, right?
Mr. Dolter, you had something you wanted to add?
No, just what Mr. McKinnon was saying there. You know, they're not out. It's just that it won't be done curbside.
Okay.
And there is one other bit of good news is that currently we did our contract, so it's only up to 3 units. They're going to take it from all residential. So we sent a letter out last week to all the owners of properties of 4 units and above, saying that they have an option to opt in with circular materials to do the recycle collection. So, but that's totally between the property owner and circular materials. We just sent out the initial notice to advise all of our property owners in town with 4 units and more that this is a new option for them.
Okay. I feel badly for Mr. Fox because I feel like bylaw might suddenly get busier while we manage this transition. This could be very interesting. Thank you for your presentation, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. McKinnon. We'll be staying tuned and keep us posted for sure. Okay, people, it is now the end of our agenda. So I want to thank council, staff, our directors, Mr. Dolter, our Solicitor Thompson, those watching on the internet or internet and Eastlink today. Oh, did you want to? Oh, just a second. It didn't show up till now. Councillor Pryor, do you want to have a comment?
It's a question for Mr. Dolter. Could you give us an update on the CN Bridge?
I didn't have a chance. So the CN Bridge project is actually with the County of Colchester. They've been getting updates on that. As far as we were aware, CN was entering into design phase for the bridge. We didn't get an update on whether or not they were doing during the winter or early spring, they were doing going through their budget process, looking to get the project funded. I didn't have any updated information on whether or not it was funded or whether or not, but I do believe there was an email that said it wasn't going forward for construction at least until 2026. So again, there won't be anything done up to that point. again, this is strictly in CN's wheelhouse, and the county is doing what they can, but I would say, in the big scheme of things, this is not a high priority for CN.
But they did commit the bridge would be
They
built
did commit that it
to
would be,
national standards.
it would be built, and some of the requests that were made of CN to improve on the old bridge will happen automatically.
Yes,
Because
why
the
don't
road standards have changed.
They will be.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. So anyway, the next public council meeting is going to be Monday, June the 2nd. Thank you for everyone today. And I want to give a shout out to our IT staff who keep us moving here, and we appreciate all they do for us. So I'd like to say that the meeting for May 5th, 2025 at Truro Town Council is adjourned at 3:04 p.m. Thank you very much. Be kind to each other and be kind to our town. We'll see you next month.